It's Emily Listman here with the Emily Listman Real Estate Group. It is June 2020, and I am super excited, like always, to share my June 2020 market update with you. This is for all areas of Sacramento County, and it is pulled from the local MLS, which is here at MetroList. So any off-market sales are not included in these numbers. However, this should give you a really great overview of what's been happening in our market. So as we all know, there have been a lot of changes due to coronavirus. Sorry, I was looking for my notes. And we all expected a real decline in the market. And what we've seen has really shocked a lot of us. Obviously, I'm really into the numbers. I like to study them. I believe the numbers are really indicative of where our market is going. And so I am surprised to say that I'm surprised by what has happened. It did not quite go as seemed. So I'm going to jump right in, share some numbers with you, and give you the goods. So the first thing I want to show you, this is one of the more important graphs I feel in my entire presentation. So it shows you, goes back about 14 months. And what you'll see is that we saw what listings, actual homes for sale, we saw a very small uptick of just 1.2%. We're still down about 23% from last year. So that is what I believe has been the most significant result of coronavirus, is seeing just the decline in listings and the inventory that's actually on the market, whereas you don't see as significant a decline in the actual purchases. So as you'll see throughout my presentation, that is putting a little pressure on the market. As far as actual closings, sold homes, those went down a tiny bit of 1.8%. Basically, we had 18 fewer closes in May 2020 than we had in April. So not significant enough to worry about at this point, especially with the pressure that coronavirus put on some escrow and title companies and other factors and people involved in the closing process. Okay, new purchases. So pending sales in May went up almost 50%, 46.7%. We had 495 more new pending sales in May than we had in April. So when you look at a tiny little increase in new listings, but a huge significant increase in new sales, it's a little concerning actually, because it's showing that inventory and housing crunch is getting a little bit more severe. So moving on here. So average price per square foot. We did see a very small drop in average price per square foot, but it's still up from February before coronavirus even really kicked in. So I think if we look at the graph here, obviously I'm kind of looking at it while I talk to you. This whole, 246, 250, 254, 252, I feel like that's a pretty steady neutral pricing market right there. So this is your average price per foot, 252 for May 2020. And then we're going to look at our average days on market as well as our selling versus list price here on this graph. So as you can see, April and May, due to a huge shortage of inventory, we've seen a really, really low days on market. I believe that has to do with a couple factors. I'll discuss a little more at the end, but primarily the buyers who were shopping during the lockdown were serious buyers who were truly looking for a home and making moves quickly. And we also saw sellers get very realistic with pricing. So in April, we actually saw the for sale list versus sold price at 100%. It did go back down to 99%, which as you can see is totally normal. So we're still seeing a very strong, steady market there. And now we look at median pricing, sold pricing, and for sale pricing. So the median price, which you'll see on the next slide, did drop slightly from 400,000 to 396,000. Again, I believe that because the list versus sale price is still so strong, I really think that's indicative of sellers being a little more aggressive with pricing in light of coronavirus and not wanting to have to negotiate a lot and just get their home sold quickly. The sold average in Sacramento was 432,000. That dropped slightly from April. And the for sale average actually went up a little from 575 to 579. You're always going to see this discrepancy between what's for sale on average and what's sold, because in our market, with a median home price usually fluctuating between 400 and 425 or so, that's the price range you're going to see the most sales in. Okay. So months of inventory based on closed sales in association with the median price, which I'm not going to really talk about on this slide, but months of inventory tells us with the inventory we have currently, how long would it take to sell through it? We're at 1.6 months. April and May, both the same. We did see the inventory go super low in December, January. That's kind of scary actually for us realtors. A neutral market would be 3 to 6 months of inventory, and that's actually a really comfortable place to be. So anytime you see these numbers, you know, below the 3-month mark, we know it is still a seller's market because there's just not enough inventory out there to satisfy the demand. Okay, finally, absorption rate. So this is kind of similar to looking at the months of inventory. This just tells us how much of the current inventory could be absorbed in 1 month of sales. Right now we're at 61.3%, still very healthy seller's market. So anything below 66% is definitely a seller's market. You don't really get to a buyer's market until you're up pretty high up there, like above the 100% mark here. Okay. Now, what does this all mean? So, of course, these are my opinions, but with new pending sales, like I said, with new actual pending sales going up almost 50% and just a 1% increase in new listings, it's really putting some pressure on our housing shortage that we've been going through for years now. And the lack of inventory is becoming a serious challenge for buyers who are looking. So especially buyers in that market under 400,000 where the competition is super fierce. The average days on market is still startling low. I say startling because to have the average day on market under 30 is just, it's not super common. We don't see that very often. It's indicating to me that buyers are not wasting any time and with the offer process, and that sellers are being realistic with pricing, which is allowing negotiations and contracts to go very quickly. Slight declines in the average and median prices, but matched with the 99% list versus sale price indicates to me that sellers are being realistic when listing their homes. And I think that's why we saw a little bit of a decline in prices. We still have about 1.6 months of inventory. Again, a balanced market has about 3 to 6 months of inventory, so still very low there. And then the considerable jump in new pending sales from April to May, 46.7%, pushed our absorption rate back down slightly. So what's happening is the more we continue to have a higher number of sales than new listings, the tighter the crunch is going to get, and then we will see prices go back up, undoubtedly. What does this all mean? Those of us who live and breathe real estate are shocked. We expected some detectable, if not significant, upset in the local real estate market due to coronavirus, and we're just not seeing that. We have seen a slight damage, and that's mostly just in the numbers themselves. So not in the price or the days on market or any of that, but just in the number of transactions that are actually occurring. So usually we would see more this time of year, but I think that's about to change in the next couple of months. So we still have very low inventory. We still have stable prices. We, of course, in California, we are reopening, getting ready for phase 3. I know my gym is going to open their pool and group classes on June 29th. I'm super excited. And so one thing I'm going to put out there as I close today is sort of what I see in my non-existent crystal ball. I do see in the next couple of months, hopefully, a flood of new inventory coming in from a lot of sellers who've been on hold, waiting to see what was going to happen. I don't think that's going to affect our market in a negative way. I think it's going to be a really good thing because the buyers are coming out in droves. I've got 4 active buyers I'm working with right now, in addition to 2 upcoming listings. And so things are happening. If you have any questions about how listing your home would work in this environment, because it is a little different, and of course my buyers are learning that it's a different buyer tour as well, I'm happy to share that information with you. Just shoot me an email. And in closing, I have to say this just wasn't as bad as I expected. I think we all really saw the worst coming, and you know, I really focused on gratitude. I focused on continuing my business and adjusting and being more virtual and doing the things that I needed to do to keep my business going. And hopefully you have all seen that in me. And if I can help you in any way, real estate or otherwise, please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope to see you all soon on the buying or selling side. Talk to you soon. Bye.